One. What's up, Gator Nation? Welcome into our rapid reaction. Zach Albaverdi and Nick Del Toro here, coming to you from Florida and Missouri. Nick is joining you from Como. I got to stay back on this road trip to cover the men's hoops game in the O Dome last night as the Gators get the dub over Florida State and look like they were going to get back-to-back wins in basketball and football as Florida had it in the bag in the final minute. Just needed one more stop after what looked like a comeback-led victory in their hands by Max Brown and a 4th and 17 conversion that I think will be talked about for the next few days in Gator Nation. Allows the Tigers to extend their final drive. They hit a couple more passes, and then they hit the game-winning field goal. Devastation for the Gators as they end their SEC slate with a 33-31 loss to Mizzou. And not only did they lose the game, they obviously lost their quarterback for the rest of the year, and in devastating fashion, Nick.
Yeah, and I'll talk about it a little more in my five thoughts. But hats off to Max Brown. It's easy. Like, listen, we've seen Graham take so many shots all year and just like peel himself up off the grass and continue to play. It's easy to be a redshirt freshman and be like, listen, dude, this guy's. It doesn't matter who hits him. A truck could hit him at the 50, and he's going to play the next play. And to kind of just be like, yeah, man, I'll take my reps in practice, enjoy Midtown and the life of being a football player. Backup quarterback is great. Everyone loves you. And to not be prepared. But Max came in. I think the handoff, that I think it was a read option, the handoff to Montreal Johnson. If you don't fumble that, you get points. Probably comes with experience. It's a big moment. You're playing the number 9 team in the country on the road. And I think he played well. It was tough to see Graham go down. I mean, he looked like he channeled his inner Tim Tebow on that run.
Yeah, he did.
And paid the price for it. So it was interesting to hear Billy. Billy said, hey, we think it's a significant injury. What did he call it? A displaced. It's basically a broken collarbone.
Non-displaced.
Non-displaced. So displaced means that the bone would have like broken completely and would not be in line. A fracture, a non-displaced fracture means there's a fracture, but the bone hasn't moved. It's not out of line. But then I asked him, does that mean Graham will be out in a week against Florida State? And Billy's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, significant broken collarbone seems like he would be out. So I wouldn't expect Graham to play.
No.
But Billy did not outright, rule him out for Florida State, but it seems pretty obvious. So it'll be a backup quarterback bowl. Might be the only bowl Florida has. Backup quarterback bowl on my birthday next Saturday in the swamp with Jordan Travis going down, which pretty gruesome injury to watch.
Awful, man. Awful.
So two teams in Florida, injured quarterbacks, and it'll be a game. I don't know if it'll be a great game, but it'll be a game next week.
Yeah, shout out to Graham Mertz and also Jordan Travis, man. Hopefully both of those guys can heal up because you wanted to see that to get the regular season finale in the swamp. Those two guys going head to head now is not going to happen. It was interesting, Nick, early on in this game, it looked like it was the defense that was carrying Florida early on as the offense kind of was sputtering. They had the opening touchdown drive and then really didn't get anything going. And they caught some fire there in the second half, and then they made enough plays offensively to win the game when it was all said and done. And, it was interesting. One of the keys for this week was explosive plays, limiting explosive plays for Missouri and then getting a lot on offense. The Gators did that offensively, but just one too many explosive plays that they gave up to Missouri. It wasn't just the last drive. It was throughout the game, whether it was Schrader on the ground or some of the big plays that they made through the air. But again, that 4th and 17 is, I mean, that was the game. And it's just, Jaden Hill said during the week, Nick, enough is enough. We got to make the plays. And that was
And
it. I mean, you got to make the play there.
Florida gave
Simple
up
as that.
Florida gave up 7 big passing plays. This stat website counts a passing play of 15 yards or more as a big play. Um, Passing plays of 16, 38, 15, 44, 48. The 77-yard touchdown to Weiss where you just got lost. 27-yard pass, of course, that was the 4th and 17 one. And then even after giving up 4th and 17, you still have an opportunity. Hey,
Yeah.
give
Not
up
over.
just a couple of yards, and it's a 50-yard field goal. The thicker kicker is good, but that's at the the high end of his range. And then you gave up 4 explosives on the ground: a 16, 15, a 42, and a 34. It's just a theme, and we talked about it before the year, Zach. Like going back to Southern Miss, Austin Armstrong's defense gives up big plays. You hope that because of the aggressive nature of the defense that they affect the quarterback, which in turn leads to turnovers. Florida hasn't been able to force turnovers this year. So you look at the defense and where they're at. They're young, sure. You're still seeing mistakes like that. I think Jordan Castell had a missed tackle that might have led to that 77-yard touchdown, if I'm recalling correctly. But they still had an opportunity. They gave up 27 more yards after the 4th down conversion, which turns, what would have been a long, if you get 2 incomplete passes there, and hey, now you're kicking 51 yards, 50 yards instead of a 30-yard chip shot.
Yeah.
So there were opportunities. Florida's offense, again, I think, played well enough to
500
win.
yards of offense, man.
Even with, Max Brown going down. And I think what I take away from this, and we kind of knew it based on what Leo Lewis was and what kind of quarterback he was, that we think Florida needs a quarterback that can run. And you had one last year, but he was limited. One, because there was nobody behind him, and he was injury prone. So you couldn't afford to have Anthony Richardson get hurt and then have nobody behind him. And then also because he was playing hurt, he limited himself the way that he was running. So I think when Max Brown comes in, you're starting to run more read option because Max can run. You can run read option all day with Graham. He's just not a threat to run. You don't have to respect it if you're a defense. You will have to respect it when Max Brown plays, and you will have to respect it certainly when DJ Lagway gets to campus. So I know we keep preaching hope and preaching patience, but when I see the different ways the offense can attack you with a mobile quarterback and the success Billy Napier had with a mobile quarterback, I think it's hard to preach patience. We're sitting here, Florida's lost 4 in a row, haven't won in 5 weeks. And you play the number 4 team in the country next week, which won't have their engine, the guy that makes their offense run. So who knows what will happen next week in Gainesville.
Yeah, but neither will Florida. And the one thing that I think offensively that was something that held them back or was problematic at times was the penalties, the false starts. Obviously they had some holdings that showed up. I think one delay of game as well. But this was yet another game, Nick, where they had a brand new starting lineup. No Austin Barber. You've got Hudson and did Damian George ever return? Or was he done? Okay, yeah. So you got Damian George out there for a little bit, but you had him at left. You had Cam Waits make his first career start. Obviously, there were some pieces there that I think they had to overcome. But again, they settled in. I thought the second half they played much better offensively, but down the stretch, man, there were times where they did some things well on defense. They got stops in the red zone. They forced some field goals when Missouri got down there. That was critical. But man, it was right there for the taking at the end, and they just weren't able to get it done.
Yeah, it was a huge kick by Trey Smack. I'm sitting there on the field near that end zone thinking, man, this place is loud. one of the smaller stadiums in the SEC, but they were sold out, like a legit sellout. The place was loud. Trey Smack, Onions, splits the uprights. And then the way Florida's defense had shown up, like you've had so much egg on your face for 4 weeks, for longer than for 11 weeks, maybe, outside of a half of football or a full game against Tennessee. Like this was the opportunity. All you needed to get was a stop. A minute 18. I think Missouri had 1 or 2 timeouts. Just get a stop. And it's not going to fix everything that you've done or all your mistakes from the whole year, but it's going to get people off your back for at least a week.
Yeah.
It's going to make you feel good. Club dub in the locker room. Top 10 road win over a top 10 team. Defense making the stand at the end. So like it had the makings of the defense, a storybook ending of sorts for the defense. And then, 4th and long rears its ugly head. It's a whole different coordinator, but same story.
Yeah, and Tarajan Mitchell actually led Florida in tackles tonight.
His first start as a Gator?
Yeah, got the start as well. So, and then offensively, it was a good game from Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne. 82 yards on the ground for Etienne, 85 for Montrell Johnson. Obviously, Trevor had that incredible touchdown catch as well on the scramble drill from Graham Mertz. Graham, once again, throws an interception off of a deflection, only his 3rd of the year. But that was something that the Tigers were able to turn into points, field goal right before the half. Then obviously, Nick, you mentioned it, the fumble exchange, that Brown had after he entered the game early in the 4th quarter. That was a pivotal moment. They had the 77-yard touchdown right after that. But, even if he doesn't fumble there and the Gators get a field goal, that changes that whole complexion of that final sequence of the game. So, and then Ricky Pearsall once again shows up. His first 2 touches went for 100 yards. He had the reverse touchdown run and got up to 72 yards receiving, Nick. We were wondering if we were going to need to run a 1,000-word story tonight. So now he's, what's that? He's like 940-something yards. So he needs like 60 yards receiving against – he had 72. He was at 876. So he needs like 60 yards receiving, 50-something.
yards.
52. I mean, we'll see if he can get it. I don't think he's going to play in the bowl game. So
what bowl
he's
game? What bowl game?
The 5 and 7 bowl game that Florida will get a bid to. I know you don't like it, Nick, but even as we sit here on a 4-game losing streak that we're talking about with Florida, there is still a chance that even if they don't win next week, they go bowling. And I don't know how many people want to hear that right now, but I tell you what, this defense needs all the practice that they can get.
Maybe not on national television, though. Let them practice. Just don't put it on TV.
But, man, Nick, you were so close to having your preseason prediction.
Oh, man. Thought it was there.
Instead, Nick takes his first L of the year on his preseason predictions on a 4th and 17 conversion.
Brutal. Tough way for it to go down. I was sitting there in the end zone. There's a minute something left. Florida takes the field goal, and I'm like, dog, I'm going to go 12-0. I'm going to make shirts. I'm going to make T-shirts with the prediction. We were selling merch. But yeah, it's this is just a tough way to lose. It's honestly weird. I don't know how to say it. Like I wasn't like when Missouri won, I wasn't surprised. Just I guess the way that the defense has played and giving up big plays, like it wasn't shocking at the end, which maybe just tells you I've seen some stuff here, Zach, over the years and throughout the season, but it's tough loss for Florida. 3 straight losing records in conference play.
First time
3
that's
years.
happened since the late 1940s, early 1950s.
Not good.
Yeah, no, not a place that you want to be, but not so fast. As Justin says, quit being so salty.
Mhm.
The Gators can win next week, and you know what?
I
They can
predicted
win
they
next
would.
week
I
because
predicted they would.
both teams will not have their quarterback.
How tell us in the comments right now if you're here real quick. What would a win over Florida State do to you as a fan mentally? One, you end the season on a win before the bowl game. 2, you're ruining Florida State's season. And 3, it's just a win over Florida. Like, how does that change the way? Like last year, we talked about the Vanderbilt game put a stink on the season. Arkansas put a stink on this season. But how much does it change the narrative if Billy Napier and the Gators can get a win over Florida State, and who will probably drop out of the top 4 based on the injury, but a playoff contending rival? Mixed reviews here.
Yeah.
Huge, not changing a thing for Q Lee.
This is the only changes that this person is interested in discussing.
Yeah, that'll be a post November 25th show.
Yeah. Plus, we know that portal's about to get hot, boys and girls. So, but as we get out of here, Nick's prediction from the preseason didn't turn out correct. But I tell you what, my prediction from this week was 34-31 Mizzou.
Really? Was it?
It was.
Close.
Very close. But and so was Florida. Close but no cigar. They put up a good fight on the road in their final SEC game of the season, but not enough. And now they got to go back to the drawing board and try and come up with a game plan to get a win over their in-state rival and try and end this losing skid that they've been on to finish the regular season. So, Nick, I'm going to let you get back to writing. Appreciate everybody for tuning in late in the night as we continue to cover this team down the stretch. I know it's not been fun for any of you, but we're here to get you guys through it. Hopefully our videos and stories make it a little bit easier. But we'll be back with more content in the morning and throughout the week to get ready. It's still rivalry week, folks, and we're going to be pumped about it. And this is a tough night, though, for not only the loss, but for Graham Mertz. He's obviously been one of the stories of the season for this team, and unfortunate to see him go down tonight. Wish him the best of luck. But do look forward to seeing what Max Brown can do with a full week. Certainly a good effort from him, and just not enough on the defensive end once again. So, Nick, safe travels, my friend. Glad you got to go have a weekend with the fam, and we will reconvene in Gainesville on Monday, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care, everyone. We will see you guys next week to preview Florida